Hi everybody, and welcome to my cozy little corner of the internet. If you are new here, I am so happy to have you watch this video. My name is Mary Kate and I create videos about pretty much anything book related, as well as I document my process of writing my very first fantasy novel. And so if those things sound interesting to you, feel free to subscribe. I try to upload about one video a week where I share little snippets of the cozy things that I'm doing in my life, as well as I try to explain what it's like to write a book. Today's video is going to be about how I organize all of my novel writing materials. For those of you that have experience writing or want to write at some point in the future, you will soon realize that writing a book is pretty chaotic. You have so many moving pieces up in the air at one time, and so it's super important to create a system that helps you organize those pieces of information and helps you to create a cohesive storyline that your readers will sometime find interesting and engaging and actually have it make sense. So, for me, my system is broken down into 3 different tiers. My first tier consists of random post-it notes and notes on my phone where when I'm out and about in my everyday life and inspiration strikes, I'm able to immediately write it down. You will realize, if you have any writing experience or if you eventually get into writing at some point, that story ideas come to you at the most random of times, and sometimes the most inopportune moments as well. I could be grocery shopping or I could be chatting with somebody at work, and then suddenly a new plot point just pops into my brain, or I create a new character that I need to incorporate into my book. And so at those moments, it's so important to have a notepad or some way to jot down those ideas really quickly. Because for me, if I don't write it down in that moment, I will most definitely forget it, and then an integral part of my story may just have vanished into thin air and I'll never get it back. So, my first tier, writing notes, is a super important part of my organization system, which then feeds right into my second tier, which is my top secret novel notebook. I think I mentioned it a little bit in the first video, but you'll actually get to see it in today's video. This is a notebook where I take all of the notes that I've compiled and I transcribe them so that I'm able to have a place where my thoughts are a little bit more defined. I'm able to hash out more details, and then I separate this novel into various sections that then will help me transcribe that into my actual novel. So once I go from my novel notebook, I have a document on, well, it's more of a file system on my computer. And my computer is my third tier and my final tier of my organization system. So the file on my computer right now is labeled Project Reaper because that is my novel project that I'm working on at the moment. And it is filled with tons of documents. Some are dedicated just to plotline details, while others are my entire character portfolio for the novel. And then I do have my actual rough draft of the novel in that folder as well. So those are basically my 3 tiers. After this intro moment, I will have actual visual videos of each of these systems so that you can kind of see what I've been talking about. For all intents and purposes, this is very secret information because I have so much progress that I need to complete before my novel is anywhere near finished. And so in order to make sure that that information doesn't escape into the world before I'm ready, I'm going to blur most of the text and writing that I have. But you should still get a better idea of what my system looks like and how I use it in order to craft my book. So, I'm trying to think if I have anything else to add. That's pretty much what this video is going to be about. I'll sprinkle in a few other clips as well, hopefully things like fall-related activities, some nature clips. This, fun fact, is like the 10th, no, probably like the 15th time I've tried to film this opening monologue. My first take that was like a really good take accidentally got deleted. So I'm not completely sure what will end up going into this video. I filmed most of the clips already, but I still am editing it. And it might end up being a mystery what you get to see for the rest of this video. Regardless, it is afternoon, so I don't have any coffee to cheers you with, but I'm super excited that you're here to watch the process of how I organize all of my novel writing materials. I appreciate the fact that you are watching this video. It means so, so much to me. And just settle in, grab a cozy fall beverage, whatever your favorite might be. Cozy up with your favorite blanket, and I hope you enjoy getting a little sneak peek into how I organize all of my novel writing materials. Hey everybody, this is Mary Kate just coming in with a little voiceover to explain exactly what my novel notebook is. There you get to see a pretty cool transition, if I do say so myself. And we're going to start by opening the notebook. And on the inside flap of this, you're going to see a single post-it note. This is just an example of how my tier 1, which is my various notes that I record throughout my daily life, get incorporated into my novel notebook. So I usually take the post-its and then stick them on the inside cover so I can see them when I'm jotting down information into the notes itself. So here is my plotline section. This is where I record all of the main important parts of my story, and I try to put them in chronological order. The section that I'm flipping to right now is my actual timeline section of the novel notebook. So this is where I plot out the order of events that are happening in my story. If I create an actual time year system, which I did in this novel, I also record the different years that are passing or months. And this way I can visually see when things are happening in the storyline, and that can help me write my novel later on. The section that I'm flipping to right now is my mythology section. So for this book specifically, I'm incorporating a lot of mythology elements. And so I do a lot of outside research. And when I'm taking notes on all of that information that I've stowed away, I keep it here in this part of my novel notebook so that when I'm actually writing, I can look back at it later. So those are the main sections of the novel notebook. And the next clip that we're going to get into is going to be looking at how I organize files on my computer. So here we're going to be looking at how I organize all of my writing files on my computer. So I've opened my primary folder where I organize things, and you can't see here because I've blurred it out, but they all have very specific names like my plot elements or my entire character portfolio or my rough draft itself. So the first document that I'm going to be opening up on my computer is my main plotline document. So I take all of the information that I wrote down in the main plot point section of my novel notebook and I type it into a Word document. And in this Word document, I'm able to get even more specific with all of my details. Then the next file that I'm going to be opening up is my timeline document. So again, it corresponds really closely with the timeline document that I have in my novel notebook. This is also similar to my chapter outline, where I use my timeline from my novel notebook and I detail all of the events that I'm planning on having happen in every single chapter of my novel. Right now, my rough draft is looking to be about 26 to 30 chapters long. And so this document becomes very extensive as I continue to add in all of the details that are going to happen within each chapter. A lot of the time, I add in information about what characters are thinking as well so that I know what emotions are happening throughout the chapter. This document that I just ended up pulling up is just a little bit more about the characters that I've developed. And so within that document, I just create character profiles for all of my people that are in my story so that I get a better idea of what they're really like. And those are the primary documents that I use the most in my Project Reaper folder on my computer. Hey everybody, I just wanted to jump back on at the end of this video to just kind of close out the video in general and thank you for tuning in to watch and learn a little bit more about my organization system for all of my novel writing material. Hopefully you found it interesting and maybe a few of you found it useful for writing in your own life. It's just what I use in order to organize my novel system, and it is actually constantly changing. I'm sure that 2 months from now, my system will have changed slightly in order to better support the writing that I'm doing at that moment. And so this is just a snippet of what I'm currently using in order to organize all of my work. But thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And I also wanted to kind of close with some things that I've been thinking about recently that have been on my mind pertaining to writing my novel, but also just to accomplishing your goals or trying to pursue dreams that maybe people think are unrealistic or unworthwhile. Imposter syndrome is most definitely a thing, and so is the persistent self-doubt that I feel like a lot of us experience whenever we're trying to accomplish something that means a lot to us, especially when it's something that might be a little bit outside the norm of what either your family or your friends or society might expect of you. So for me, my dream is to publish my first novel and to hopefully continue writing into the future because it's something I love, and I really hope that I can share my pieces of writing with the world and that other people like you might connect with it and appreciate it, and maybe it can give you comfort or inspiration. And so for me, that seems like a very lofty goal sometimes, and sometimes very unattainable. And I can get paralyzed by the fear of failure. And I'm still pretty early on in my whole process of this. And so that can be really challenging to overcome, because when I get so scared that, oh, I might fail or I might not meet the goals that I've set for myself, that can kind of lock up my progress. And then that's what I think about instead of sitting down and writing another chapter or fixing a plot hole or really spending time working on accomplishing my goals. And I think that is very applicable for people in all walks of life. I think most of us have hopes and dreams that are so important to us that we sometimes keep them locked up very tightly inside, and we don't want to share them for fear of people judging us, but also for fear of disappointing ourselves by not accomplishing those things. And there's kind of an interesting humor to that, because if we don't try, if we're so paralyzed by the fear of failing at whatever we want to accomplish, and we stop trying, then we definitely won't ever accomplish what dreams that we have in our minds. And so that's what I try to remind myself of on a daily basis, is that if I don't try, then I definitely won't succeed at accomplishing my goals. And so my only true risk of failure is just stopping writing or giving up my hope of publishing a book. And mistakes will happen, but those lead to progress, and progress leads to accomplishing more of our individual goals. And so just reminding myself that putting in the effort to try is such a wonderful, wonderful thing. And when I do eventually succeed and accomplish my goals, I want to be able to look back at the journey and appreciate and cherish all of the hard work and the mistakes that went into accomplishing it, because it'll make it so much more fulfilling. And so that's what I basically wanted to close with. After you got to see how I kind of organize all of my novel writing materials, I just wanted to jump in and tell you that whatever your dreams are, whatever your goals are right now, you are capable of accomplishing them. And the most important thing to remember is that the only time that you're truly going to fail is if you stop trying to accomplish the goals and dreams that you have. And regardless of what society is telling you or other people in your life might be telling you, nobody has the power to take away your hope and your desire to accomplish your dreams. And so if you need someone to tell you that you're doing great and that your hard work is going to pay off, and don't give up on chasing those dreams, then I am more than happy to tell you that. And with that, I think I am going to brew a cup of tea and probably curl up with a good blanket and my book that I'm still trying to finish. My October TBR just seems to be getting bigger and bigger, and my progress is not that impressive right now. So probably drink some tea, read a really nice book with my favoriteest blanket, and then spend some quality time with Miss Scout. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day or your night, depending on when you're watching this. And I hopefully will catch you next time in my newest video. Bye, everybody.